Browducation. Thank you so much for being on today. Why don't you go ahead and tell our listeners a little bit about what inspired you to start your business and what brings you here?
Well, um, I am a little bit of an unconventional beauty professional. I used to be a licensed vet tech.
Okay.
My passion was anesthesia. I worked specifically with horses. The town that I live in now is the college town that I graduated from this university, Murray State University. And then I left for a while, kind of doing that vet tech thing. And then whenever I got pregnant with my oldest, I was nursing him late at night one night, and I randomly happened upon a post about microblading. And I was like, what is this? Because this was like 8 years ago, right when it was coming on the scene.
Yeah.
And long story short, I went to my husband and I said, I can't explain this. I feel like I should be doing this. And so that kind of started the passion for brows in general. And it wasn't long until I became very determined to teach myself threading. So I did that. Fast forward 8 years down the road, I'm now a salon owner. I rent out rooms. So a very unconventional way to get into the beauty industry, but I've really enjoyed the ride.
Yeah, I love that. So are you licensed in aesthetics or Cosmo?
So in the state of Kentucky, you do not have to be an esthetician or a cosmetologist to offer threading, henna brow tinting, or lash extensions. However, you do have to have what's called a specialty permit. So with the Board of Cosmetology, because I'm a salon owner, I have a salon license, obviously, for the facility. And then I have a specialty permit for threading. And then I have a specialty permit for lash extensions. They kind of make you jump through a lot of hoops in order to get those specialty permits. Like you still have to go through an on sanitation course.
Okay.
Um, you also still have they only allow you to take a specific course. Like they give you a list of like 10 courses that you can take that
Oh,
they
okay.
approve. So I've actually taken 3 lash courses, and I did in fact teach myself to thread. It's one of those like weird things that there's just not a lot of education for threading out there.
Yes, we've talked about this before.
Yes, I looked and looked and looked and looked and looked. I scoured the internet. This was like 7 years ago,
Yeah.
trying to find a course, and all I could find were these super like honestly just very sketchy courses that were
Yeah.
taught in like hotel places that and like you couldn't find information about the instructors, you couldn't find information about
Oh God.
whether or not you would get a certificate. And I was like, this is weird. And so because I'm
Yeah.
very hot-headed, I was like, I can teach myself to do this.
I
And I
love
wish I'd had a me, 7
Yeah.
years ago. That would have helped me so much. But now that's what I want to do. If anybody wants to learn to thread, I tell them, come see me. We have a very small college town, but don't care. I'm like, I will teach anyone that wants to learn because I personally just love it.
Yes, that's exactly how I feel. I'm like, I want everyone to learn how to thread because I absolutely am obsessed.
Yeah.
That's really cool. That is a unique. What about microblading like drew you in so heavily? Because that's kind of what the ethos of like the genesis,
Yes.
I guess you could say, of your coming into the
Yeah, to be honest with you, whenever I was still a vet tech, I thought long and hard about going to hair school because that
Oh,
was something
okay.
that I was kind of always drawn to. I really enjoyed hair. I can do really ornate braids. All the girls I used to work with when I was working at a coffee shop in college, I did all of their prom hair. I did their wedding hair.
There's always that
And
girl.
so yes. And so I went to actually tour a Paul Mitchell hair school in Lexington, which is where I was doing anesthesia for racehorses. But to be honest with you, I just could not rationalize another $20,000 when I was already paying for a bachelor's degree.
Yeah. So valid. So valid.
Yeah. And so I just, I sat down with my husband and I was like, I want to do this thing that maybe a lot of people don't really see me doing because I'm not your like this is as much makeup as you'll ever see me wear. Like I'm
Yeah.
not your traditional like beauty
Same.
professional but I still kind of wanted a part of it, but I didn't
Yeah.
know how to go about it. And
I still think
honestly,
there's, like, the interest too. I'm the same way. I don't like a lot of makeup. I'm not, like, grabbing all those things. I'm not watching what's trending. I'm not purchasing all the new hop-in products and things like that. But, like, it doesn't mean we're not interested in the beauty industry.
right.
Like, we can still have our own little corner of it. So I love that you're talking about that because I do think that,
Yes,
like, even the listeners, like, there's different tiers, I feel like,
there
or,
are.
like, groupings of people in the industry. I don't wanna
Yes.
say cliques or anything because I think we're all equal. But,
Yes.
yeah, I think that there's a stereotype
Yes.
of what the beauty girl looks like, and then there's actually, like, the reality of what we all
Yes,
look.
especially, like, for me, like, as a salon owner, like, people are like,
Yeah.
"Oh my gosh, like, you own the salon?" And
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yes, but I'm also, like, super chill."
Yeah, right? No, literally. I love that you were saying just about, like, different styles of beauty and how you got into it. So we were talking about how microblading kind of drew you in and
Yes.
what specifically about it drew you in.
So essentially, I kind of initially saw it as a way to get my foot in the door, of the beauty industry. Cause I was like, well, maybe I could learn microblading and then I could save up enough money. Then I could go to
Yeah.
cosmetology
Okay.
school. Well, then I started microblading and I fell in love with it. I was like,
You're
this
like,
is
"Wait, I actually love this."
fun. Yeah. And then I was like, wait, honestly, the biggest thing that got me into threading, kind of the
Mhm.
segue, was I kept having my clients return to me and they would say, "Ashley, I love what you did with my brows. I love the shape. I love when I leave what they look like,
Uh-huh.
but I don't trust myself enough to do any type of hair
Maintenance.
removal at home because I'm terrified because I don't know what hairs to pull." Well, then I got to thinking. I was like, "Well, what can I do? What is it that I can do with what I have in terms of degrees and things like that?" So then I found a loophole. So you can't wax if you're not an esthetician or a cosmetologist. But I did find that you could thread
Isn't
without an
it
esthetician
so
or cosmetology
funny?
license. And I was like, okay. But then it got to what we were talking about, finding a course. I was like, how do I learn to
Yeah.
thread? So then I couldn't find one that I was just like absolutely willing to drop $600 on to this random
Yeah.
thing.
Right.
So I started scouring the internet. I scoured Instagram, I scoured YouTube, and I started watching videos of people threading. That's literally
Okay.
all that I would just devour videos of people threading. Well, then one day I noticed that not every single person put the string in their mouth. And I was like, I wonder
What was
what that
this?
is there. What is like I did at that time had no idea that it was called hand tied threading. I didn't know all the different techniques. And this was pre-COVID, there wasn't a lot of negative energy surrounding like the string going in your mouth.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I tried that method and I just couldn't get it to click. Well, then I tried.
I don't even understand how it works. I'm just like, I the neck and body making the pull sounds
Right.
so strenuous. Like, I
Yes.
know how hard my fingers and my wrists work to make that go back and forth, and I'm like,
Right.
I couldn't even imagine using my head
No.
or my neck or my mouth or whatever it is. I know that those are all kind of different areas that they use, and I'm
Yes.
just like
Yep.
amazed by it. Like I could
I
never.
know. So I figured out, I was like, okay, there's this thing which I know you and I use hand tied threading differently. I
Uh,
had no idea that people that did hand tied threading didn't necessarily wrap the string around
and
their
then
finger.
vice versa. I had never seen the thread wrapped around the finger like yours. Like,
No.
until I met you, I was like, "What is this?" It's so funny. I love it.
I know, and everybody always says like, "Oh my gosh, it looks like it hurts." And I'm like, "No, my fingers are perfectly fine. Like it does not hurt. It does not bother me." And I've tried like your way and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I can't," because I've done it for so long. I'm like,
Yep.
I feel like I'm out of control. But
Yeah.
I figured out this method. So basically what I did was I just begged and pleaded my friends and family to please let me try.
Yeah.
So I would just
That.
bring in my friends and family. And then I slowly like worked it into like my henna appointments. I would ask them, I would be like, hey, I'm teaching myself this hair removal method. If it's all right with you, can I please try? And then it morphed into, hey, I offer this, option for hair removal. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. I can use a brow razor because that was still what everyone that does permanent makeup uses. They all
That
use a
always
brow razor.
blows my mind because I just feel like threading would be so much more efficient and less
Girl,
scary. Because if you're talking about less damage, like what could happen with a blade or a razor or something like that could be way more damaging than just threading,
I know.
like
I
open
tell people
wound
that
wise.
all the time. And I'm definitely in the minority of permanent makeup artists. Like
Yeah.
I just went last November to take Lexi Bowler's Nano Brow course, which Lexi
Yes.
Bowler is like a
Top
brow
tier.
icon. Yeah, like
Yeah.
she's like top tier, which I was like so humbled
100%.
to even like be in her classroom.
Yeah.
But
100%.
it's
She's
so
incredible.
crazy because like every time I'm at one of those courses or in a room full of just like really top tier professionals, everybody's just kind of like, you thread before you microblade? And I was
I
like,
love and hate that threading is such a a hot topic, I guess. I
It
don't know
is.
why. It's so funny to me because, like, it's obviously both of ours bread and butter, and I love, love, love it so much, but it's funny that there's, like, a genuine visceral reaction to it.
Yes.
People either are so interested and curious about it, or they're like, "Oh my god, like, what?" I don't understand
Yes.
what it is because 'cause I'm just like,
I don't either.
it's confusing. I'm like, "I don't understand why you guys are so weird about it."
Well, especially the fact I guess it's just the fact that, like, waxing has just been done for so long
Yeah,
that it's just
it's the
so
norm.
accepted, it's the norm, it's just what everybody does. I mean, heck, I'm old, so I was in college a long time ago, but when I
Yeah,
was in college, that's just what you did. You went and got your brows waxed.
100%. Yep.
And then because I'm sensitive Sally over here, I would spend literally 3 days with my brows. They would literally turn purple. My boyfriend would make fun of me. He'd be like, "I don't understand why you do that because I have such sensitive skin." He was like, "I
Yeah.
don't understand why you do that." And I literally told him, "Because it's just what you do."
And,
I
like,
had
what other
no
option do I
idea.
have? We have no idea. If we didn't know, we didn't know.
I know. I did not know. And then I kind of, I wanted to offer my clients an option for them to come back to me routinely
Yes.
for hair removal. And it was just like once it clicked instantly.
I love that.
So I started offering it. And then there's a girl, Brows and Beauty Company in Campbellsville. Rosie is the owner of that. She does hand tied threading. And during COVID, she was offering a hand tied threading course for all of the threading artists that were using the mouth method or the neck or whatever that wanted to transition over to hand tied threading, which Rosie wraps the thread around her fingers just like I do.
Okay.
And so she had messaged me and was like, "Hey, I don't know if you're interested in taking my course, but I would really like it if you kind of gave me a little bit of feedback on my course since you're already offering threading." So I did that. I took her course, loved it. I learned a couple of different, tips and things that I hadn't really thought about in terms of like angling the thread, twisting your wrists, which that's like a huge element that kind of comes into play after you've already learned the art form and the technique of threading. You start to really hone in on how much control you can have over the thread. And then after that, I've just like not looked back. Threading, even though I offer, lash extensions and microblading, threading being my cheapest service continues to be my second top earning service that I
See,
offer.
and it's my top earning service. I say that all the time. I'm
And
like,
it's the cheapest.
"Yep, exactly,
But
exactly."
it's because once you get so fast, you can do, I mean, so
My
many
schedule
people
is
in a
full of
day.
those. Yeah,
Exactly.
like, I'm always looking at other brow artists, and I'm like, "Oh my god, wow, they have, like, 5 laminations in a day." I'm like, "How do they even do that?" And I'm like, "Oh, because I have, like, 15 brow shapings and
Right.
I don't have the time for it in my day because I'm full of those." And I'm not complaining by any means,
No.
because I think one of the things that we forget about is that we need to look at our books, like, hourly, right? So,
Mhm.
like, if I make $100 doing a lamination in an hour, I'm still making 93 threads in an hour. So it's not like it's
Exactly.
that big of a difference, you know? So, and then of course you can work up to where they're the exact same if you want to slowly charge more for your threading. And
Right.
I think the other cool thing is that because waxing is such the norm,
Mhm.
threading is a specialty. And I think you can get away with charging more for it too, because people seek it out versus just being like, oh, that's the girl in the corner that does my brows. Like, you're not looking for proximity, you're looking for specialty. And I think that makes a big difference.
Well, and the other thing is I've noticed with you and I kind of have a very similar, I feel like, client experience. It's not your typical, at least I'm in a very small town where
Same.
most people just wax when they're in the shampoo bowl. They
Yes.
literally have a very dirty and I don't mean to talk poorly about, other artists, but
No, it's not, well, and
just like
it's not their specialty, it's not their thing, so I get them not,
exactly.
like, having the focus or time or care, it's like a quick 5-second thing that they think about
Yep.
periodically, yeah,
Yes. And you and I feel like are very similar in we want to create an experience rather than just a very simple, quick in and out kind
yeah,
of appointment. And I feel like
100%.
that is what allows you to be able to charge more because if
Yes,
your clients come in, they you get hair ripped out of your face, you've got mascara running down your face, you're wiping, and you leave like that, you're not gonna feel like, was that worth me paying 20,
pampered,
25, $30?
yeah,
Versus you come in, I greet you, I say, "Hey, how have you been? How have your kids been? How are your
yeah,
animals?" You lay down, I thread you, I trim you, I fill them in, I set them with a brow gel, you sit up, I give you makeup remover if you need to, fix things, and you leave not feeling totally just I
disheveled.
feel like
Yeah.
because that is what I felt when I would go get my brows waxed in college. It was literally
Yeah.
lay down and it was rip, rip. I would
It was a
leave.
chop chop. Yeah.
My face was red. I was like tearing. And then I didn't go anywhere after that.
Post
Versus
care gone. Yeah.
yes. And versus like my clients, like they come on their lunch hour and like when
Yep.
they leave, their brows are filled in, they look amazing. Like it's just an experience rather than just just a really quick 15
One
minute
and done.
appointment. I can get a
Yeah.
lot done in 15 minutes because
You
I've been doing it
can.
so long.
You can.
But I definitely just always tell people what is going to set you apart. I tell my students, I'm like, what's going to set you apart is the experience, how your clients feel. It's not just about shaping the brows. It's not just about removing the hair as quickly as possible. It's about how your clients feel when they leave.
Yep, 100%. I just talked about this with another interview a guest yesterday. I was asking her like what is something that people forget about a lot in our industry, and it's customer service. It's the fact that this is a customer service job and we have to take care of our clients. Okay, so what was like we kind of touched on this a little bit, but hot take, do you ever think that threading will ever gain the kind of hype that waxing currently has? Do you see any future of it kind of becoming equals or even leveling a little bit ahead of waxing?
I think number one, I think the most important thing is that it has the capability to.
Yeah, I agree.
But number two, I think the biggest thing is going to be if you get somebody, for example, like Kelly Baker,
Yeah.
if you get somebody like that, that either learns the service, offers the service, reps the service, and you get the right person, like the right celebrity, the right influencer to kind of show that it's not this scary thing, that it's totally normal, that it's just as good. I think that is kind of what is going to be necessary for it. But I do think that it has the bones for it. I think it absolutely, the service in and of itself, I believe wholeheartedly the service has every right to be just as important and just
I
as
could not
revered as
agree more.
waxing.
Yeah, I totally agree. What's the biggest myth or misconception people have about threading, especially clients?
That they think it's going to give them the same result that they've gotten with past artists that wax.
Yeah, I agree.
And I don't know how to explain to them. I'm like,
I
just let me do it. Just let me thread your brows. And then they understand. And then they're like, oh my God.
Yeah. I can't explain scientifically why it feels so differently because we are removing the hair from the I know the biggest difference very clearly. Obviously, we're not exfoliating in dead or live skin cells. That's the biggest
Yes.
difference between hard wax, soft wax, and threading. But I don't know what it is specifically that is such a game changer with the way it holds the shape, the way it removes the vellus hairs, the way
Yep.
it just carves everything out, leaves the skin, just as it was.
Hmm.
Maybe a little irritated, obviously, from where the hair was removed. I think there's no
Right.
way around that. I always tell people, I'm like, hair removal is painful. It has nothing to do with whether it's waxing, hard wax, soft wax,
Yep.
threading. I think speed is the only aspect that makes a difference in pain removal, the same way pulling a wax strip super slowly versus
Right.
threading really slowly. I think they feel identical. I think that one thing I tell my clients is that I think that there's a mental hiccup that comes with threading where you can like hear it and viscerally like hear the threading happening and feel it a little bit differently
Yeah.
versus the hot waxing applied and ripped off. I think that that's the difference, but I don't think there's actually like a real big pain difference. And I don't know, you're right.
Yeah.
I don't know what the difference is. I don't know why it's such a big difference, but my clients, without fail, every single time, they're like, it's so much sharper. It held its
Yes.
shape. I get it lasted longer so frequently. And I'm like, I have no
Same.
idea
And
why. I have
I don't,
no
I'm like,
idea why
I
it
can't
would be
explain it.
longer.
I don't know.
I'm like, and I'm not, I would never even be like, this is why you should thread instead of wax because I don't understand
Right.
it. I don't know why. It holds its shape so freaking well.
Hmm.
And even as the hairs start to come back in, the shape is still defined. Whereas I don't feel that way with waxing. And
No.
maybe that's just because I'm predominantly a threader, but
Right.
I think it's magic.
I
I
do
love
too.
it for
Agreed.
that. Was there ever a moment you considered switching from threading to waxing or working on getting your license so that you could be able to wax?
I did seriously think about it. I have a really good friend who is in the beauty industry. She does permanent makeup and lashes and brows just like I do. She used to live in California. She now lives in North Carolina. She is an esthetician. And I called her one day because I was just super bummed. I was like, I just feel like I'm not as good of an artist because I can't offer waxing. And I feel like I will feel more well rounded if I can offer waxing. And she stopped
Yeah.
me. She was like, girl, If the only reason you're going to go back to school and get your esthetician license is just so that you can wax, I think that's a
Crazy.
waste of money. She was
Yeah.
like, you are offering a top tier service
Yep.
to your clients that is good as it is. And she was like, you don't have to reach every single person that wants
No.
waxing instead of threading. She was like, that's not
Absolutely.
your clientele. That's not
Yeah.
your clientele base. You need to stick with what you are so good at. And I was like, it was just like a light bulb moment. I was like, oh my God,
Yeah.
I really don't have to just because I feel like I should.
Yeah. I had the same exact feeling at one point where I was like, "Wow, should I be taking more, like, waxing courses to get better at waxing?" But I was like, "Also, I wax, like, 3 people a week. Why would I be what?"
Right.
Those people are happy. They're coming back. They're happy with the results that I'm giving, and I also have no desire to be waxing more.
Right. Exactly.
I'm happy to wax the clients that require it or prefer
Right.
it, and
Right.
they want to see me. They're very particular about that. I totally understand. But
Yeah.
like I would much rather convert a waxing client to threading. If I have to choose, I would prefer to thread.
Yeah.
I think this is just good for the listeners to know is that once you've established who you are as a brow artist, you'll get clients that want to see you. They
Yep.
don't give a shit how you do I could tweeze, I could wax, I could thread. They don't care about how I'm doing their brows. They just want me to be doing their brows, which is a really fun place to be. And so I'll
Absolutely.
have people that'll book a wax or they book a thread. They're like, honestly, I didn't know what to pick because I don't care. And I'm like, first of all, love you. Thank you for being
Right.
so trusting in me. And B, I'll pick threading because that's my specialty. And their first question is why? And I'm like, oh, this is fun. I get to tell you all the reasons I love threading over waxing from a personal perspective. I'm not saying one is better than the other. And I'll go into it, but I'm like, this is my specialty. So if you think about like, I don't know, you wouldn't go to your orthodontist to get regular dental work done.
Right.
Like their specialty is braces and restructuring and things like that. So I just feel like the same way you seek out a foot doctor over a general practitioner, you're seeking out like specialty wise. So I'm like, of course, I'm better at this.
Yep.
Can I get you the same results with waxing? Yes.
Yes.
But it might take me a little bit longer. I might have to finesse it a little bit more. I might be tweezing a little bit here and there, whereas I can get it done, like we said, in 5 minutes with a thread.
Right.
So there's just differences, but like the results are the same. But I always love getting that question because I'm like, I was like, I don't know, I just prefer it. It's my favorite.
Okay, real talk. If you're still avoiding threading because you think it's too complicated or you've been learning from random YouTube videos, babe, that's like trying to learn surgery from Grey's Anatomy. My hand-time threading course is the real deal. I'm walking you through exactly how to hold the string, nail your tension, keep clients comfortable, and make their brows so clean they practically thank you in tips. It's self-paced, it's online, and it's literally a skill that let me raise my prices and still book out. So stop winging it and start threading like the boss you are. The link's in the show notes. Go get it.
And I really love introducing people to threading because I
Me
get people
too.
every week that lay down, in my chair and they're like, I've never done this. I'm really scared. And I'm like, oh, I'm so excited because I know at the very end, they're going to look and they're going to say, my brows, I get this every time. My brows have never looked better
Yep.
every time.
Or you get the bad rep that threading carries everywhere, and they're like, "Oh my god, that was so much less painful than I thought. That was so much faster than I thought. That was great. I didn't notice a thing. I actually
Yeah.
prefer that over waxing." Like, there's a million responses that I get all the time, and this is another reason I wanted to have this platform of the podcast, just to, like, get it out to other brow artists. I'm just like, clients are not afraid of threading. They're afraid of the horror story their sister's friend told them about getting waxed or threaded
At
at
the
like the
mall.
mall kiosk. Yes.
The closest place that we have, so our mall is 45 minutes away.
Oh my god.
That's where I literally live in like BFE, Kentucky. And everybody used to drive to the mall 45 minutes away in Paducah to go get threaded. Well, then I get people all the time every week. They're like, oh my God, I didn't know you were here. And I'm like, hi, been here for 5 years.
Yeah, right.
And every time and they're like, oh my God, I didn't know that I didn't have to drive 45 minutes to
For
get this
shitty
done.
threading.
Yes, exactly. And every time they're like, and that was for terrible brows. Like I would leave
Yes.
unhappy
I
every
have
time.
our mall is pretty close to our mall is probably 10 minutes from my studio. And they charge like $10 more than I do because the mall rent is really high. And for a while they weren't charging that much. And then I had somebody come in recently who found me and then she was like, "Oh my god, this is so much better than the mall." And I was like, "Oh my god, tell me everything. Like I want to know everything about like how their structure, their setup is and everything." And she's like, "Yeah, it's like $40 for a thread." And I was like, "Oh my god."
Oh,
I'm like,
wow.
"Oh goodness." And I've heard nothing but bad things, which is
Yeah. Yep.
yeah.
I do get the occasional person that when I went from $15 to $20, it was a really big deal. And I have sat at
Yeah,
$20 for my threading for a long time.
I did too.
And it it was hard because everybody is so used to around here because we're such a small town. it's like $10 wax,
Yep.
$10 wax. So they
Yeah.
compare that, and I just really I had to double down. I was like, "I'm really sorry, but this is my price, and I'm sorry for it." But
And
then
you're worth
eventually
it.
exactly. Eventually, I got to the point where I was like, "You know what? I completely understand if someone can't fit that in their budget. It doesn't hurt my
Yeah.
feelings, but at the same time, I also have to
Have to make a
understand
living.
exactly that I am worth it and that I have to
Yeah.
make a living and that I have 3 kids at home and that it's okay
Ah,
for me to charge this
you're
amount."
worth. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. How do you think that threading has shaped the vibe of your brand and client experience compared to other brow artists in your area?
Well, because I was the only person that offered threading in my area up until literally like a year ago, it was the one thing that set me apart. It
Yeah.
was like, "Wow, have you heard of Ashley at Beauty Marks? She offers threading." "Well, what's that?" "Oh, well, it's this blah 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 blah." And so it kind of was this really good conversation starter of
Yeah.
and I'm not as good about it now, but when I first started threading, like anywhere I went, if I drove through the drive-through for coffee,
I'm a
"Hey,
third.
I'm
I
a
do the
threader. Here's my card. Hey, I'm a threader. Here's my card. Hey, I'm a
I know,
threader.
I used to be
Card."
so good about it.
And now, well, the busier that you get, the less time that
Yeah.
you have in your schedule to accommodate new people. But,
Yeah.
you know, that was like the biggest thing was I wanted to tell everybody about it. And I feel like that's what kind of set me apart was because I seemed so passionate about it. I was like
Yep.
threading, 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 threading everywhere I went. And I just kind of became known for it to where now,
Yeah.
I've been sought out by a couple of like spas in the area that wanted to have threaders on their staff. So yeah, I think just my passion for threading in general is what set me apart.
I love that so much. Now, do you feel like you get the referrals from other waxers in the area because you are able to do what they can't? Or
Yes.
like they send clients your way if they
Yes.
lift skin or they're yeah, I love
Yep.
that
That's
aspect.
exactly what it is like I've had so many people that either like if they're on Accutane or if they're on like tretinoin or retinol, their artists will be like, "Hey, this did not work. This actually lifted skin. Next time you need to go to Ashley at Beauty Mark. She offers threading."
Love that.
And
See,
I
this is something
could
I
tell
tell potential students. I'm like, you will get
yes.
clients in a way that you wouldn't be able to prior, you know what I
Yep.
mean? And it's a thing that the funniest thing to me is I think that there's very rare situations where you can get referrals doing nothing but your specialty. That's
Mhm.
just so rare. Like aside from you, I think having a specialty is a requirement, being niche down is a requirement to get these style of referrals. But it's
Yeah.
really cool to get a referral just because you do something that somebody else doesn't. Like that's so
Yes.
fun that as long as you're good at your craft and your skill level is there, it's so fun that another professional will see you and go, I can't provide that, but she can. It's such a cool
And it
experience.
always makes me feel just really like warm and fuzzy inside. I'm like, "Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
they think you hear like another
Honored.
beauty professional, like even if they're just a hair
Yeah.
stylist or a lash artist or whatever, that the fact that they like take the time out of their day to refer their client to me because
Honored.
I know how much I love my clients is very
Yes.
special to me.
Absolutely.
Don't
I could
take
not
it
agree
for
more.
granted.
It is the highest honor.
Mhm.
Okay, we're gonna switch it up a little bit. What
Okay.
is the wildest or most unforgettable threading experience you've ever had with a client?
Oh. I just thought about okay. So I know you can't tell, but I'm 6 foot tall.
Yes, we've talked about this.
Uh-huh.
Because I was
And
so surprised. It's hard to
you
gauge
know
online.
I know, it is, I know. So back like a couple 3, 4 years ago, saddle stools became a thing.
Yes.
Kind of was like all over the place. It was like, "Oh my gosh, saddle stools, saddle stools." Little background, I'm an equestrian. So I
Yes.
ride horses.
Okay.
And so I was like, That makes sense. I should get a saddle stool. I'll be super comfortable." I got a saddle stool. They are not made for people my height because it couldn't like at least the one that I got, it like couldn't raise up enough. So I was
Yeah.
like squatted down. Girl
Yes.
fell out of my chair with the client, laid back. And she literally like turned around and she was like, "What just happened?" And I'm on the floor on my back. And I was like, "Never mind." I threw that saddle stool away. I was so angry at it. And also that was while I was pregnant.
That's just not fair.
I was pregnant and I fell out of my stool. Anyway, it was the most humiliating thing ever, but it's fine. It's very hard for me to get embarrassed anymore.
Raise you one. I did the same type of thing. I was in my current stool, so not a saddle, full ass chair with a back. And I'm working on a client and I have a table. My table's mechanical, right? And it
Yes.
has the little foot pedals like you would see at like a dentistry office. So it's got like either side. Well, it also has a very structured steel base, which I love because it's so sturdy. Well,
Yes.
the freaking paddles, wedge themselves under the steel base, and just start raising my client, raising my client, raising my client, raising my client. And I'm yanking. There's her friend sitting in the chair staring at me. I'm yanking and trying to get the thing from out from under it, and she's just raising all the way up towards my light that's right there. And she's just raising and raising. So I'm leaning forward trying to yank it out. I lean forward so far, my chair shoots out from behind me and my tailbone just slams into the ground. And I'm like, oh my God. So then I'm just on the ground trying to yank this out because she's still rising.
Oh my God, that's so humiliating. Did she ever come back? Hopefully, yes.
No, neither of them said a single fucking.
That's even worse.
They said nothing, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna be silent too. We'll pretend like it didn't happen. They came back, never said a thing. I was like, you know what? That's a girl's girl. Just ignore it.
That's
so, so apparently we've all been there.
We've all fallen out of our chair at least once.
That is so funny. Oh my God, I love that. Do you ever feel like threading brings a different type of client than other service? And if so, what kind of client would you say that that is?
To be honest, the people that end up in my chair are people that are either referred by someone that has previously come to me that have just, sang my praises, or it's somebody that is frustrated because they can't get what they want with who they've gone to in the past.
That's interesting.
So I don't necessarily know if it's like similarities of like personality traits, financial situation, anything like that, as much as it is just that they're all either referred by someone that, loves my services, or they are now exasperated to the point where they're like, you're my last ditch effort. I searched online. I don't really know what else to do. I've gone to 5 other places to get my brows waxed and I hate them every time. And I've grown them out for the last 3 months and I just want to see what you can do.
I love that because it's so interesting because I do feel like you see that. I see that a lot. I feel like it's less that it's about threading and more that it's about a brow specialist. I think they've done the runaround of trying the chop shops of quick waxes. They've tried the slightly more specialty, but still a little too broad. And then they land on this specialist who like single only does brows.
Yep.
And I feel like for some people that might sound like a red flag of like, oh my God, every other artist was incapable of, doing what I wanted. And I do see their side of that because sometimes there are certain clients, and I'm just gonna throw it out there, they're the ones that cannot be pleased. They have no idea what they freaking want. And that's why they're never happy, is because they don't actually know what they want. They don't trust us as the expert to tell them what they need.
Right.
And so they don't know what they want. So that's one specialty case. But I do agree with you. I think that there's also the other side of it where they truly just haven't been happy. And then they come and see us and they're like, oh my God, somebody who actually takes the time and care to create a really beautiful shape, to, talk me through things, explain things to me. Because sometimes those quick one and done $10 waxes, they're not explaining anything. They're not telling them anything. They're not mapping. They're not taking a look at the shape. They're not doing any of those extra steps that we are doing or are capable of doing. So I agree with you. I think that is a really good point, that we're kind of getting the clients that are at their limit of frustration and they're just coming to see somebody who can actually solve their problem and has the not authority, but the intelligence and experience to make what they need to happen.
Yes. I have often found that those people tend to be one of my favorites because they're so appreciative at the end.
Yes.
They're like, this is what I wanted. This is what I've been asking for. And no one has been able to do it.
Yeah.
They come back and they've been with me for years. Yeah. And I love them. And it's not that they're difficult. It's just that they haven't been able to find that right artist.
Yes, I agree. I totally agree. If you could make one threading related rule that every brow artist had to follow, what would it be?
This is like a completely selfish and unfair rule, but I would want everyone to stretch the same.
To stretch? Oh, like clients?
Yes. Well, because people come in and they're like, oh yeah, I've been threaded before. And then they lay down and I'm like, all right, we're going to stretch this brow. And usually I direct them and tell every single person every single time what hand goes, because I do a 2-hand stretch. But if somebody comes in and they say, oh yeah, I've been threaded before, and then they lay down and they do this.
Well, I'm not threading if
and
they
I'm
do
like,
that.
No.
I'm not threading if they do that. No.
Yeah.
I'm like,
and
okay,
I tell them, I'm like, hey, so actually every threading artist stretches differently, and this is how I stretch. And then I show them, or I move their hand. But I just really wish that everyone stretched the same.
I made a video. I made a reel. I was like, this is how you hold. Yes. And literally I have had new clients come in and be like, I watched your video. Am I doing it right?
Yes. Yes. I have thought about getting a picture of somebody stretching and posting it right over my station and just pointing at it and do that.
No, and I tell them all the time, we have to have it equally stretched across, or there's pinching or it like pushes the skin out if you have it on opposite sides and it's not an even
Yes.
pull, it makes a problem.
I
And I'm like,
tell
if you'd like me to not grab your skin,
Yes,
let's go ahead and do
yes.
this properly.
I have it down to a science now. All the girls at my salon, because they've been with me for so long, they literally can recite it word for word.
Yeah.
They'll be like, "Okay, bring your left hand around, pull up above your brow with your first 2 to 3 fingers, and then you're gonna pull down on top of that eyelid with your first 2 to 3 fingers."
I always say that. I'm like 2 to 3 fingers, please,
Yes,
no one
because
pull. Yep.
otherwise you end up with literally nothing. They're doing
Yeah, I'm like, it's
no
not doing anything. Yep.
and I'm like, "I love that you're trying."
Or this,
Yes.
like, has to be on your eyelid, honey bunny. Why are you opening your eye? I love when they do that. We get a nice little giggle together
I've
because
had
they're like,
clients
why
that have
would
been
that be
coming
helpful?
I've had clients that have been coming to me for 5 years, and every single time they say, "Put my hands where you need them."
Same.
Don't remember.
That's so funny. I love that. Okay, I have a few more questions.
Okay.
I'm just kind of quick. If you had to start over completely from the very beginning with 0 clients, what is some things that you would do to grow your clientele? I know we mentioned just talking about it a lot, to like the baristas and different things like that. What are like maybe 1 or 2 other things that you would do to kind of boost your clientele?
Um, Honestly, trying to find, like, I feel like every community is different, but trying to find someone in the community that is in front of as many people as possible. Those
That's
types of people
incredible.
are commonly hairstylists being one, nail techs being one, people
Realtors.
that are kind of, like, still in the beauty industry and still respected because, like, I have people that are like, "Oh, yeah, my nail artist sent me to you," or, "Oh, yeah, my lash artist sent me to you."
Somebody that they have to give their trust to first, and then the ones that trust is established, it makes it really easy for them to take referrals from.
Yep,
I love that.
exactly. So I encourage people to find people in their community that are in front of as many people as possible because they're a walking billboard.
Yep.
They're a walking billboard because if you are proud of your work and you are consistently giving results, somebody's going to notice. Somebody's going
Yep.
to say, "I love your brows. Where do you get them done?"
Yeah. I love that. That's so true. Okay, what is your what is your brow artist confession? Something you do or believe that Loki would shock people in the industry.
That's a good question.
Right?
I feel like I have like 50 for lashes. Um, for threading,
Or just brows in general.
yeah. When I'm doing a lamination, I use like brow soap, like I cleanse them between step 1 and step 2, which
What do
is
you
kind of like
feel
weird.
Yeah, what do you feel the need for, like, what got you into doing that?
Well, because I had so many people coming to me that had overprocessed lashes and brows that I was like, "Okay, how can I stop the
Right.
overprocessing from happening?" And I was like, "I feel like maybe it's
You're not
partially."
fully removing step 1.
Yes, exactly.
I
Yep.
see, that makes total sense, though. I feel like I see how the statement could be a shock, but once you explain why, I think that totally makes sense. Because every once in a while, I'm like I notice that it's funny, I don't know why I don't register as much with brow lamination. Maybe you just have a clearer view, but I do feel like I'm like, "Did I get all of it with the lashes?" Because like, the fact that the rod is there and everything, I'm just like, "Is it hiding below it? Is it hiding,
Yes.
like, kinda tucked in that little lash line area?" I'm always nervous about it kind of hiding in those little pockets so we can't see as much. So I love that. That makes a lot of sense. I do feel like I find myself washing and rinsing more with lashes because I am concerned about it for that reason. I
Right.
should take a closer look at my brow lammies as well. Obviously, I'm not seeing a lot of over processing. Let me put that disclaimer out there.
Yes.
I'm not over processing, but it is something to think about. If your younger self could shadow you for a day now, what do you think would blow her mind the most?
What I'm doing.
Yeah, just your day to
Just
day.
what I'm doing in general. Yeah, honestly. I've took such a 90-degree turn, and
I
I
love that.
never would have seen myself in this role, but at the same
I feel
time,
the same.
I'm just, like, so content in my
Yeah,
role. Like, I'm so I don't know, it's not a burden, to wake up and remember that I have to come into work. It's a joy. I love coming to work. Is it hard to leave my kids? Yes, but I love it. I love every aspect of it. I love my clients. I love the girls that I have here. Is it stressful some days? Absolutely. But I think younger Ashley would be shocked to
yeah.
see where I'm at.
I love that because I do feel like we were talking about being maybe not the atypical beauty girl because I do think that some of them get in the industry and they're like, "Oh, I've been doing my hair, my sister's hair, my mom's hair forever," or brows or makeup or whatever it is. That's made so much sense. And I'm the same place as you. I didn't know what aesthetics was
Mhm.
until probably 3 weeks before I signed up for it. I had no idea. I had never seen a facialist. I had like the random get your nails done, get your
Right.
brows waxed.
Right.
I wasn't even going consistently. I wasn't worried about what my brows looked like when they were grown out. I never filled them in before beauty school. There was so many things that I had all of my firsts in beauty school learning before I started offering the services. So I completely agree with my younger self thought I was going to do a million other things aside from this. Like this was never on my radar. So I love that.
20 years ago, Ashley was outside sweating, throwing hay bales, leading trail rides, and going
I
on pack
love it.
trips. So I never could have seen myself in this role.
I love that so much. Okay, just one last question. What is a moment in your career that looked like failure on the outside, but actually changed everything for the better?
And when I very first moved back to town, I tried to find another artist to bring on to kind of like split the rent with me. And long story short, she ended up stealing from me.
Like,
It was just a really bad situation. And then she got all of her friends to create false reports with the Kentucky Board of Cosmetology. And I was literally like 9 months pregnant when all of this hit. And I cried a lot.
I'm in shock.
I
That's
thought my business was gonna
horrible.
be shut down. And then I had the kindest inspector for the Board of Cosmetology come in, and she sat me down and she was like, "You're gonna be okay. You're not gonna get shut down. I know this seems like
Oh my
this
God, I'm
is
gonna
the
cry.
worst day ever, but you're okay." And I was like 9 months pregnant and I was crying and I was like, "My whole business is over. Like I can't even like everyone thinks the worst about me." And then
Yeah.
I was like, "You know what? I need to take a deep breath. I need to focus on my baby." So I had my baby, and the Board of Cosmetology basically they were like, "How we deal with complaints is the board meets in October and we will bring to light everything." And they said, "You can write us a letter." So I wrote them a letter explaining that every single person that had claimed to be my client had never stepped foot in my space ever. I wrote down every single person that I had on every single day that they had complained that I had given them a service and that I had,
Yeah.
even know what they had said that I did. But I wrote them this huge long letter explaining that this disgruntled individual was upset that she had been let go. And they dropped all my charges and they wrote me a letter and they were like, "You're totally fine. You are perfectly fine to start operating again. You can do lashes, you can do brows, you can do whatever you need. You're fully licensed." And it was just one of those sobering situations where I just realized that some things are worth fighting for.
Yeah.
And I love what I
What
do
a great
enough.
lesson. Yeah.
Yeah,
I love that so much. I'm so sorry that you had to go through such a
it's
horrible
okay.
experience, but you came out stronger on the other side. That's for
I
damn sure.
did. I did. I absolutely did. I'm a little bit jaded now. I'm a little bit
Yeah.
more cautious, about
Valid. Valid.
who I bring in. And I've still, gone through, with me having people in and out, being a suite renter, you get people that aren't great matches. But ultimately, my, biggest concern and my main goal is to create a happy and healthy work environment for not only me, but all of my renters, because that's
Absolutely.
ultimately what I wanted to do. I told my husband, I said, "I don't want employees. I just want renters," because that's what I wanted. I was looking
Yeah.
for a space that I could rent so that I could work for myself, so that I could set my own hours, so that I could be home more with my babies.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted. I told my husband, I said, "I'm not out to make money off of these girls. I'm here to offer a solution for people that want to work for themselves, that want to bring in as much as
Especially in
possible."
a small town like you too. I'm sure that was very far and few between.
We I mean, at this point, we were the first salon suite in the area at all. And then now I think there's one other place, but I mean,
Yes.
like, we just don't have a lot of salon suites in the area. I'm a very unconventional beauty professional in me, but also like where I'm at. I'm not your
Yeah.
typical big city that has a solo salon studios, you know?
Yes. No, I love it. I feel the same way because people here, when they hear I'm from California, they assume, bigger LA or,
Hollywood.
Bay Area or something. Yeah, Hollywood, absolutely huge, huge. And obviously California is kind of known for being very vain. But I'm
Right.
in a small little, like, I mean, I'm not in like a mountain town, but I'm like in a tiny little valley, like We
Right.
are a college town, which is a benefit, but also there's not a ton. And like my demographic is very different than a big city demographic. So it's so
Mhm.
true. But I think that there's more of us than we realize. And so
Yes,
I think it's great for listeners to hear that you can still be successful, you can still build, you can still get out, you can still do the things, even in a smaller
absolutely.
area.
I think the representation of like a smaller town, brow artist is not always there, but I think there's so many of us.
Yeah.
And I think that they just need to remember that just because you're not in a big city and just because, you're not like Kelly Baker Brows,
Yes.
it doesn't mean you can't make money. It doesn't mean you can't be
Absolutely.
successful.
Absolutely. This was such a fun chat. Thank you so much for coming on Browducation.
Thanks for
I could
having
talk to you
me.
for hours. I love this. And I know my listeners will love this episode as well.
I can't wait.
It'll be out soon. And thank you guys so much for listening. I will catch you next Thursday.